What's up, and welcome back to Nowstalgia Pod, your weekly look at what's going on in pop culture. My name is Pat Sheehan. I am here with my co-host Dave Martinson, and man, Dave, it's a sad week, man. Before we get too far into it, I'm just gonna say follow the podcast, YouTube if you're watching it. Hit that subscribe button, SoundCloud.com/NowstalgiaPod, and follow us. Subscribe on Apple and Twitter at NowstalgiaPod. I mean, we got to mention two people right off the rip who passed away the end of last Thursday. Burt Reynolds, 70s, 80s movie icon, mustache and chest hair icon, probably more importantly, which when I found out he was 82, I was kind of like,
yeah,
he could have been 70 or like 95, and I would have believed whatever you said. Like, he just seemed kind of timeless to me in a way. So 82 seems right, but definitely sad. Do you have a favorite Burt Reynolds movie?
Deliverance
Deliverance is a good
fucking
one.
rules.
Yeah.
I watched it on the airplane only last year for the first time, but that movie fucking is awesome. Really good.
Yeah.
Dark as fuck.
It was his first movie too, right?
Not his first movie, but his
like
first famous movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably just go Boogie Nights just because I fucking love Boogie Nights.
His really only like big like late career movie that really popped. You know, he picked a lot of bad movies at that age, but it's funny, like his relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson's funny to read about just because apparently they didn't get along.
Yeah, he thought he was I don't know, I guess kind of like a nitwit, kind of like stealing people's. He thought he had like a big head is everything I pretty much read. Like, he thought he was this great like revolutionary director, which he kind of is like now, but at that time he thought he was too big for his britches. But you know, the person that I think we're most sad about, our guy, but I'm gonna give you most of the credit for this, Mac Miller. I mean, died of an overdose, 26, late Friday. I actually felt kind of bad because I'm pretty sure I broke the news to you.
Yeah, he did.
Which, I mean, if anyone texts with Dave or knows Dave, he's pretty meticulous. He doesn't really like write typos, but like your first text back was just like a what, but like misspelled and like obviously very quickly like frazzled. Man, just a really, really sad and tragic loss. I mean, obviously you were sad. I saw your tweet, but talk a little bit more about your like gut reaction, just like your thoughts since Mac passed.
I was very emotional for, I don't know, like the last like the 36 hours or so afterwards. Cried several times. Just very sad. It's the first, famous person, that I was aware of that I had like a really like visceral emotional response to their passing. That's not to say like people that were big of our time, like say Avicii passing, didn't hit me the same way, but this one really hurts. And I mean, whenever I've been kind of stopped reading the coverage around it today, just because it's been just really, really tough. And yeah, I was very, very sad for sure. It's obviously taken way, far too soon. And you saw that sentiment echoed by the whole fucking rap game, man. Literally everyone said they love Mac and he was the best dude and, all that.
Yeah, it's, I think anyone our age, it was hard to go through college and not play a Mac Miller song at a party or, when you're hanging out with your friends, just throw one of his songs on the background and everybody was bumping to it. I mean, he was at your junior year, my senior year, Sienna Fest. And I know that I think you met him once at a concert. So obviously you had a personal interaction with him, and from all accounts, it seemed like he was a really just good dude, revered, respected. And we talked in our review about Swimming, as this really, really solid album that showed a lot of growth, and he was kind of finding his sound and experimenting, but really taking some chances. And his potential just seemed like he could go anywhere. And then a month later to have that all gone is just kind of surreal.
And that was the thing too. It's like, Swimming, I believe, was his 5th official studio album, but he had a lot of other side projects along the way, and a lot of lot of legit output for a 26-year-old. Like he had like that Larry Lovestein EP, which was like this little romantic like singing project. Then he had like Delusional Thomas, where he was like really distorted and like a hazy sound, right?
Yep.
Then he had all these various mixtapes, like Faces, a tape I reference a lot as something that's like now it's being brought up because of the really dark, morbid, druggy lyrics that were on it, unfortunately. But he had so much versatility already, and it's like it shows because like he worked with Pharrell, he was cool with DJ Jazzy Jeff, you know, and then obviously like people like Drake and Cole loved him. So it's like he had all these influences everywhere, and you know I saw like to your what you said, a lot of people our age were affected, you know, were obviously very saddened by it. And most of those people were sharing that the songs you were referencing, stuff from Blue Slide Park or his kids mixtape, stuff where he really popped off, right? That frat rap stuff and that fun party music. And obviously that growth, that career journey that you know, he really started to blossom post that. It just sucks that he's gone so soon, because I was just thinking like Mac Miller's going to be a dude who, when he becomes an old 40-year-old rapper, he'll have like 15 records, and who knows what kind of albums these are going to be, because he makes all this kind of music, and it's just so sad that he's gone. We're never going to see what that was, and you know, it sounded a limitless potential, you know.
Yeah, it's tragic to say the least, and obviously no one really expects anything like this to happen, and it seems to happen far too often. So just as like my own PSA, if you are listening to this and you're struggling with substance abuse, you're feeling alone, get help. You know, there are people that care about you. There's a ton of resources online. You can, I think, message either myself or I don't want to speak for you, Dave, but you, and if you need someone to help direct you in the right place, like we're here for you. So don't struggle alone, and know that you matter. Any last thoughts on Mac before we move on?
Yeah, you know, I think part of the reason I was so upset was that, you know, post the Ariana breakup, right? He had that publicized DUI, and after that, a lot of people like checked in on him, right? And like he went on Beats One, talked to Zane Lowe leading up to swimming, and like he talked about that, and he was like, "Yeah, it was a one-off thing, just a stupid mistake. I effed up, but I'm fine." He's like, "I'm good." And then like Craig Jenkins, one of the best music writers for Vulture, ran a profile about Mac the day before he died. And you saw Craig tweet. He was like, "I just talked to him yesterday. He was happy. He was great." And that's what everyone seems to be saying. So maybe we'll find out more later, but I just, it didn't seem like he was in that place where he was trying to, hurt himself. Ebros was theorizing that maybe he got a bad batch of drugs or something,
Yeah.
Whatever the case, seek help if you need it. But
yeah.
Very sad.
And also just want to say, anyone that for any reason is blaming Ariana Grande for this, like, take a step back and like reevaluate. This is nothing to do with her. I mean, obviously they had a relationship, but
they're on good
Max,
terms.
yeah.
On the Zane Lowe interview, Mac was like, "Yeah, I wish the best for her. I assume she was the best for me. We're cool." It's like, yeah, the relationship ended, but she's more upset than most of us. Let's be real.
Sure, absolutely. So, moving on from somebody who had limitless potential to somebody who also seems to have some potential, and I think we're gonna kind of probably get into that. Troye Sivan, his I guess his second album, Bloom, follow up to his 2016 album, Blue Neighborhood. This is an interesting guy, similar to, I'm forgetting his name, and I'm going to, what?
Who? What guy you talking about?
He's an Asian rapper. I'm totally blanking on him from earlier in the year.
Rich Brian?
Yes, Rich
Tokyo?
Brian. Yes. Right. Similar to Rich Brian, someone that became big on the internet, YouTube, and then he got big in Australia on these talent shows, and kind of then has created his own lane from that, or at least fell into the pop lane. I saw this guy on SNL last year when he performed, or not last year, earlier in this year. And I thought he was interesting, but also just kind of awkward and seemed like a kid, really. And then listening to his album, I think that really comes across that he's still kind of growing into his own. The song lyrics seem pretty shallow to me, very like surface level. None of it really seems authentic in any way. I think there's still some enjoyable songs on there, and we just mentioned Ariana; she's on one of the tracks. But overall, I was kind of left just being like, it's a fine pop album. It's okay. What was your take on Bloom?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think anything like, blew up my headphones or anything, right? I think part of that is that he's a okay vocalist. I don't think he's not like an amazing singer, right? And I thought the beats were pretty homogenous, pretty washed out, So it's just like on the surface, it just feels like, okay pop, right? And then like, as you're listening more, you're like, and then you learn more about Troye. You're like, oh, he's an openly gay man, very honest about who he is, right? And that's something that resonates with a lot of people. So I almost feel like I'm probably not the target audience for these lyrics because I don't find them that relatable, obviously. But, I think a lot of people do. Obviously, he is pretty popular for a young kid. 72,000, this album did first week, pretty solid. But at the end of the day, like, and not to be reductive, but like we talked about another openly gay artist recently, Ali Alexander from Years and Years. And I thought the music he was making, similar subject matter, but because the sounds were so different, obviously, it's more of an electronic focused with synth pop and stuff. I just thought that was way more fun. Yeah. So it's like, Troy's on a similar wavelength, but just, it's almost too generic for me,
Yeah. Do you, I guess when I was listening to him, the biggest comparable I could think of was like Charlie Puth in a way, although he doesn't have like the highs of Charlie Puth, just kind of like a singer who he's a little less vocals, but makes these kind of middling pop songs. Hasn't really found maybe the right producer or the right person to help him reach that next level. What do you think about that?
Well, I think Charlie, I don't know if I agree with that. I think Charlie Puth has straight bops, he just has like, jams at the end of the day, some of his songs. I think if you want to compare them in terms of songwriting, sure. But I think Puth just has more, radio friendly music, just songs you can put on and play, right?
I gotta say though, My is a jam.
Yeah, that's my favorite song on this. I think it's the first or second single. I think that one's good.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't hate the dance to this with Ariana, and Animal was a little bit slower, but found it enjoyable. So those are a couple of the tracks I would recommend. We'll have one of them up on our playlist, which is I'm a little behind on, but by the time you're listening to this, will be updated. Well, we move on to someone whose potential seems to have kind of reached its apex, and he's kind of on the downside, man.
You think?
The 10th album from Eminem, Kamikaze. Yeah, I know. Talk about potential. Mine is slowly waning today, too. Man, I saw you tweeting about this, about Eminem taking some shots at Tyler, and I saw some of the, at least that one reply to you. I didn't really check if there were any others, but just seeing 2 weekends ago, the response to this just made me hate this album even more. And the thing is, I don't think this is Eminem's worst album.
No.
But just the whole culture around Eminem at this point is really tough for me. And I see you shaking your head. I'm wondering what thoughts are coming up for you.
Here's the thing. Kamikaze, Eminem's, was it 10th record, 9th record, whatever it is. Not his worst, like you said. His worst came out just last December 15th, Revival. And, Revival was the first Eminem album to not go platinum, which is pretty impressive in the streaming age to not finally go platinum yet. So, that says something for someone of his stature. I think it did like 267,000 first week. Which, that's a good week, but not for Eminem. I mean, let's remember, Eminem was the artist of going a million plus 3 albums in a row in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
And Eminem is fucking the epitome of pop rap. He literally made rap pop, right, in the 2000s. And of course, because half the reason is because he was white and became so popular as a result. But like, Eminem was such a fucking force. And you see that baked in with Kamikaze in terms of the response. Eminem has baked in fans. And they really showed out for this. 434,000, I think, is the final number for first week. So, well, I think the fourth biggest debut of the year. Very impressive. And it's interesting that he was able to build up on Revival, because Revival had a much bigger rollout, traditional rollout. Kamikaze was ghost dropped. Now, I've seen this theorized. I'm not totally sure where I feel about it, but a lot of people are thinking that because Eminem took some shots at people, called some people out, that may have stirred up interest in Kamikaze, getting people to listen. Now, I'm not sure if that accounts for an almost 200,000 unit discrepancy, though. But either way, more people are interested in this album. That being said, it's just so frustrating to listen to Eminem yell at everybody else for not liking his album and not taking any responsibility for putting out a bunch of crap.
Right.
And that just pisses me off listening to him about how, oh, we're the dumb ones because we don't get it. When it's like, no. Listen to the jokes people make about you. We understand you're good at putting rap together, words together. Mm. We know you know how to open a thesaurus. But let's look at your hooks and how you haven't had a good hook that was just you and not a pop star in like 7 years, bro. It's like call a spade a spade. Like, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, if we criticize him, you better watch out because he might come to our house and fight us. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
The whole thing about Eminem, we talked about Jay-Z, how he drops 444, and it was really the first time he's been able to kind of evolve into an elder statesman of the rap game and kind of let that influence the way that he makes an album, the way he writes an album. Eminem just holds on to this. I don't want to call it lightning in a bottle because he had sustained success for more than a decade. And he's still, like you said, a very successful artist, but he just holds on to what made him good, and almost like it's holding tight against evolving or even trying to mature. And it's just really frustrating because it's almost like I just want Eminem to go away until he feels ready to try something different rather than just kind of keep giving us the same thing pre-baked. Like, great raps, he's a great lyric, not a great lyric, he's a great rhyme schemer, he can spit and he has great flow ability. But beyond that, it's really cringeworthy at this point.
And it's this album, he actually acknowledged that there's other people in the game. He's not on an island. There are, he calls out Lil Yachty, he calls out Charlemagne and Academics and Joe Budden, right? It's like, and Machine Gun Kelly, he knows there's people in the game, but he doesn't actually adapt to the rest of the culture, right?
Yeah.
And it's just why are you gonna call what was it? He made fun of people for listening to Lil Pump, and then he referenced one of his songs. No. It's not that Lil Pump is just too easy to listen to. It's that the song you're referencing was bad.
Right.
You make bad music, people aren't going to like it. It doesn't matter who you are. No one gets a pass like that. And, like you said, Jay-Z, 444. Pusha T this year with Daytona. Old is not an excuse. It's just you. No. You're just refusing to adapt or change your outlook on things. And yeah, that doesn't mean you have to make stuff that sounds like the default Atlanta trap sound of contemporary rap. No one's expecting you to do that. But it just seems like he has this terrible attitude about it. And then when he uses a bleeped out F word in reference to Todd the Curator, by bleeping it out, it's even worse because you know it's bad, but you're still doing it. So it's just immature.
Yeah, but especially when, Flower Boy was 10,000 times the album this one was, and 10 million times what Recovery was, or not? No, Revival was. Recovery was okay, but
Revival and Recovery. Recovery's pretty bad too.
I think Recovery is better. I don't know, at least more enjoyable to listen to.
The thing, Recovery was when he firmly embraced pop. Period.
Right.
And his career is interesting to look back on, but that song "The Fall" where he calls out Tyler and uses the F word, Bon Iver, Justin Vernon was like, "Fuck that! I ain't supporting that shit." That
wasn't even want to be listed.
Yeah, we weren't even in the studio with that. That was from an old session that he took, and he wouldn't take me off. So I was like, "That's a bad look." And I'm sure people Mhead's listening. You're not talking about the music. All right, let's look at the music real quick. I thought the greatest hook was fine. I thought "Lucky You" with Joyner was listenable. I thought the normal was amusing.
Mhm.
And then listen to Stepping Stone, and like that singing shit.
Stepping Stone is trash, dude.
That is like the worst part of Recovery right there. That's horrendous. But it's like he just doesn't have hooks anymore.
I mean, the chorus of that didn't even make sense, and it sounded so bad. Just like "You're my stepping stone." Like I literally like was thought it was one of the skits for a second. I was like, this has got to be a joke. He's also like what talking about D12 in that.
Yeah, like, you finally put D12 the rest. Thanks, I guess.
Right. Yeah, we needed that.
Honestly, the best thing that came out of this was that he called out MGK because Machine Gun Kelly responded with Rap Devil, and Rap Devil's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I've listened to Rap Devil more than any song off Kamikaze.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, oh, the skits are back. What did you think of that?
I thought they were interesting, but it's like
definitely interesting.
The Paul Rosenberg comments, oh, you're just gonna like what are you gonna Kamikaze too? It's like, yeah. It's like again, let's take a step back and realize that you don't have anything to say. Again, you're just responding to critics not liking the album when you thought you had something to say. And it's like people didn't dislike Revival because you were calling out Trump and being political and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, reductively you were. We just didn't like it because it sounded like shit. Like that's why we didn't like it.
Yeah, it's. I
just don't think he understands like what it takes to get critical enjoyment or populism. It's like,
yeah,
it's so easy to be like, oh, the mumble rappers. Oh, let me do the bad and bougie flow on Not Alike. It's like,
right,
cool, man. We thanks for your service level observations of the game. Thanks for showing up. We'll check in with you later.
Yeah. The one thing I do have to say is I think this is probably his best sounding album, like production wise, since since Revival, since Recovery. I'm getting them confused in my head so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But since Recovery, I think just because it seemed to flow. I thought Mike Will's influence on it was really obvious, and I thought it really brought something to this. So if there's one saving grace to it, I do think it was a step up production wise, but overall it's just kind of same old Eminem. A better album than Revival, but still just got a long way to go, man.
And
any last thoughts?
Yeah, and to that point, a long way to go. It's like that was why I really like Rap Devil, because the second half of Rap Devil is like, and what's MGK be like? He's like, you're in everyone's top 10. You're not getting better with age though. And it's like he was like giving him a backhanded compliment about how you're great. Everyone says you're great, but
you're done.
Not anymore. Like it's okay. You had a good run, and I wish he would take that to heart or do what Jay-Z did and actually grow up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But why don't we jump to some movie talk before we dive into the Emmys? This movie Searching, Anish Chiganti wrote and directed this, 92% Rotten Tomatoes. I was so surprised to see that because I hadn't really heard much about this. Mm-hmm. And then I get to the theater and I'm basically watching someone Google search the whole time, and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be tough. And somehow this ended up being maybe one of the most gripping movies I've seen this year. It stars John Cho, Deborah Messing, Michelle Law plays Margot, the girl who disappears in this. I'm not giving too much away, and we'll tell you when we're gonna go full spoilers. But just the overall reactions to Searching as a movie and as a concept.
Yeah, like you said, it's so unconventional. It's Tyler shot through point of view screens, smartphones, webcams, FaceTime, security, etc. Right, and at first you're like, this will get old, this will get gimmicky. It doesn't. It's really smartly constructed the way this movie flows, and I think that reason alone is why I would recommend this to anyone. It's like, it's like a mystery thriller or crime thriller, but it's shot in this unconventional way. Like for that alone, go see it. But on top of that, it's also, like you said, really gripping. And I think it has great twists and is very effective.
Yep.
So I think the movie totally works.
Yeah, the movie absolutely works. I think we both recommend to go see it. If you haven't seen it, we're probably going to get a little spoilery here in a minute. So I would probably recommend stopping, going and seeing it and coming back. Yeah. So talk to me about your guy, John Cho. He's having a pretty big year. He's in Aquarius earlier in the year. Now he's in this.
Gemini, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, he was a supporting role in Gemini earlier in the year, which is a mystery movie we talked about earlier on the pod. Nostalgia pod. Check that out. Love that movie. He was also in Columbus, which is a small movie that came out last year. I believe it's on Hulu right now. Check that out. He's the co-lead in that. And it's cool seeing John Cho. He's picking these smaller projects, and Searching, I think, is really exciting because you mentioned Anish Chaganty. This is his directorial debut. He used to work at the Google Creative Lab in New York City, and he got hired by Google after making that Seeds Google Glass commercial earlier in the 2010s. And then he wrote this screenplay with his the producer of the film, one of his buddies, and it was originally going to be a short film. Then they pitched it to studios, and they said, "No, we want to make it a feature." And shout out Sony for picking this up and seeing this, and they financed it, and not only that, they helped get it to Sundance, and obviously it took off. But he got John Cho in his first movie, made in this way. I think it's quite the success story. But I was surprised. Like, obviously, I knew there was some Sundance buzz. I knew it had the unconventional nature to it, but I wasn't expecting it to be as thrilling and as I didn't see a lot of the twists coming. I really didn't. I guess in hindsight, maybe you could see them more, but I thought it was really well told mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point to the twist, I think obviously after seeing it, you kind of look at like the scene where they're FaceTiming and her son walks in and she's like, let me deal with this. And I was like, yes. It's kind of a weird thing to say at the time, but I was like, oh, okay. And like, that is an obvious, clue to everything.
And the marijuana in the very beginning.
Yeah. Although I gotta be honest, I was sitting there, I was like, this gotta be marijuana. And then how shady the brother got though in that scene, I was like, oh no, this can't be. Really well acted. And I also feel like this is going to be like a template for how people use social media in movies. It's kind of hard to show how people use the internet now in movies and film, just in culture in general, because it's such a personal experience, and it's not really fun to watch. Like I wouldn't want to watch someone just scroll through their Facebook or search on Google, but they did it in a way that really, I think, will influence other filmmakers moving forward. Although my one gripe is no one FaceTimes this much.
That was my take too. Yeah. There's a lot of FaceTiming. There's a lot of
FaceTiming strangers.
FaceTiming on your desktop computer in the bedroom. Like, there was a lot of hoops to jump through. But it also kind of speaks to the strength of the screenplay. Yeah. And you listen to Anish talk about it. Like, he basically said that they didn't use Final Draft, the default program for writing screenplays. Mm-hmm. They didn't use that till the very end because they had to basically write their own screenplay / storyboard, because they had to write all of that social media or internet, whatever the screens were going to be. They had to write all that out in some kind of screenplay form. So they basically invented their own weird storyboard screenplay hybrid to make this movie, because they just had to create their own language to explain the screen, right?
Yeah.
So they had and then remember when he buys the security cameras, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that was the only option, right? There was no other way to get a screen in that scene, right? That he had to do that. So I was like, it's fine, but yeah. A lot of FaceTime.
Yeah, a lot of FaceTime. I thought for sure they were going to break away from it at some point, just because there's so many things that happen without the technology, like when he goes and confronts that kid and punches him. But I still think they pulled it off for sure. Like you said, really well written. I'm interested to see what Chaganty does moving forward, because he's obviously very talented, very creative. But I also feel like this isn't the type of thing that you can replicate and make other movies this way. So I think his next film would probably be a true test of his inventiveness and also his real like chops as a director. Any other thoughts? What did you think of Deborah Messing?
Good.
Yeah,
good heel turn too.
I was about to say Grace has still got the chops, man.
Yeah, and I think Anisha already has another screenplay in the work, so it sounds like he's going to be a rising filmmaker. Good for him. Quite the win to leave Google and have your first feature be so successful.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this movie, and we talked about Eighth Grade from Bo Burnham earlier in the year. Two movies that really handle modern internet use / social media really smartly, So
absolutely,
I'm here for that.
Why don't we jump to some Emmy predictions as we wrap up today? The 70th Emmys going to be coming at you next Monday. We wanted to get you this, our predictions beforehand, so we got it on the record when we get them all right. We talked about some of the nominations in the past, so we don't need to go too much into like the surprises or the trends, but I think we're just going to kind of be talking straight picks, maybe our hopefuls and our who we want to see. Why don't we start with lead actress in a drama series? We don't need to run through them, but maybe mention one or two that stand out. I guess if I had to pick one, I really want to see Kerry Russell take this home.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-horse race, honestly. Kerry Russell for the Americans, Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tale, who won last year, then Sandra Oh from Killing Eve.
Yep.
I think Sandra Oh is fantastic in Killing Eve, but because Killing Eve is getting renewed, I'd say let's get Whittier. This is the final time for the Americans, and they've been snubbed and overlooked so many times that I really hope Kerry Russell would win. But I kind of have a feeling they're going to give it to Elizabeth Moss again because the Emmys love her.
I could see that happening. I guess I'm really hoping that this is, third time's the charm for Kerry Russell here. She's great in this show, man. And
she's the number one winner of the show in general.
Absolutely. But, Matt Reese is good as well, but Kerry Russell just really shined in that. So we'll see. I think we both went on Kerry Russell, and I think you handicapped the field perfectly. Let's jump to lead actor in a drama series. I know you're going to pick your guy, Jason Bateman, right?
No, I don't think so. I still got to watch Ozark. I'm actually getting more intrigued as people talk about it. Similar to our sentiment, again, Matthew Reese. I would love him to win. I actually think he has a better chance than Kerry Russell, to be honest, because I think it's a quote weaker field. Just because, there's big names in this, but I don't see Ed Harris or Jeffrey Wright winning, and I don't see Milo Ventimiglia beating out Sterling K. Brown. So it's either Sterling K. Brown repeats or Matthew Reese wins. I don't think anyone else has a chance.
Yeah, I would guess Sterling will repeat just because, someone that watches This Is Us, great NBC show. Love the tearjerker. He actually is just phenomenal and just a great actor in general. Are you gonna see Predator by chance?
Oh yeah, Predator this weekend. I'm gonna see that shit. Don't you worry.
I gotta say, the stupidest line in the trailers is when that woman is nitpicking the name Predator, and he's like, "Yeah, but Predator sounds cooler, right, guys?" And everybody's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh God." I love Sterling K. Brown, but that take an L on that one in my book. All right, why don't we jump to lead actress in a comedy? This is actually going to be a really interesting category this year, where it's been a snoozer in the past. There's no Olivia Louis-Dreyfus to kind of basically take it home like she does every single year. Veep wasn't on last year. Can't wait for it to come back. I gotta tell you, man. Allison Janney probably is the favorite, but
no, I don't think she's the favorite at all.
No?
Actually,
she's won in the past,
right? But Rachel Brosnahan won for the Globes.
That's true.
Emmys are just gonna give Marvelous Mrs. Maisel a lot of awards.
I would love that.
Yeah, I think Rachel Brosnahan's gonna win pretty handily. I love Issa Rae. That'd be for Insecure season 2. Hopefully she'll be there next year as well. But yeah, I think Rachel Brosnahan's got this in the bag. Such a magnetic screen stealing performance. She's in almost every scene in that show, so I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel Brosnahan's incredible. I would love to see her win. I do think Allison Janney is an outside shot just because she's very beloved and she's just a great actress in general.
Just won an Oscar too. She's in people's minds.
Lead actor though, a little bit closer, I think. Yeah. I agree with you. Brosnahan would probably take it home, but Donald Glover, Bill Hader got to be top two. Who's your pick?
Yeah, it's funny because they're both nominated for 4 Emmys. I think saving grace for Matthew Rhys is that Sterling K. Brown is also nominated for a guest actor in a comedy series for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so he could still win something else, and then Matthew Rhys could win. In the case of Glover and Hader, they're probably both going to win something as well, but only one of them can win for lead actor in a comedy series. What's it going to be? Glover won last year. Bill Hader, though, I feel like is a stronger lead performance.
He's got that HBO clout behind him too, dog.
True. I think that's like, I mean, well, they're promoting a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, they would love this to win as a freshman series.
Absolutely.
And I actually would pick Hader just because I know DG is going to win a bunch for writing and directing. Like, I think he gets credit for Teddy Perkins, which I believe will win, for example.
Yeah.
And also, like, Brian Tyree Henry is the true lead of Atlanta, in my opinion. So I have more my voting or my rooting interest behind him personally. So that's why I go with Hader. I think Glover's up, but I think I'd go with Hader.
Yeah, I think Hader carries Barry, whereas Donald Glover, I mean, it's like the Warriors. It's if it's not Donald Glover, it's Lakeith Stanfield or it's Brian Tyree Henry. So, like, yeah, I think Hader's got to take that one home. What other categories do you want to look at here? I'll let you jump around a little bit.
Let's do the supporting ones as well.
So, supporting actress in a drama series. Just kind of looking real quick. Do you want your girl Millie Bobby Brown to get this?
No, not for season 2. Did you notice there's 7 people nominated for this category?
I was just looking at that. It's a big field.
So I haven't seen The Crown, but I have seen Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah,
that's the Kirby.
I was just looking
throwing
at
heaters in that. So I kind of want her to win because this is her last time for The Crown. This upcoming season, they've aged up. So Claire Foy and Kirby and Matt Smith are no longer on the show for season 3. So send off Vanessa Kirby and have her win. But I think who probably wins, probably Ann Dowd for Handmaid's Tale, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I would love to see Lena Headey for Game of Thrones, Cersei Lannister.
I would too, but
performance.
Yo, your girl Thandie Newton, she had that whole scene where she was speaking Japanese and inceptioning people, controlling them with her mind. I don't know. I could see her getting a big push because I know they want Westworld to continue to get a lot of awards and award buzz moving forward.
3 Handmaids actresses nominated in the same category. Maybe they split, and someone else possible.
We'll see. All right, supporting actor in a drama series. Quick scan here. I don't think David Harbour. Maybe Peter Dinklage. I don't know. I feel like the Lannister brothers probably going to split it.
I think David Harbour wins, but I'd rather one of the Thrones guys wins.
I would rather be Nikolai, but
yeah.
David Harbour might be the one to take it home. That's really too bad because he's really good in that series, but I do think, especially in the first season, Millie Bobby Brown just like showed out and then didn't really get much serious award win and many award wins to kind of bring that home or to support that. So,
and the thing about Thrones is like Peter Dinklage hasn't he had like the Tyrion scenes. The good Tyrion's material was seasons ago at this point. Mm-hmm. He's just kind of getting legacy nominated at this point.
Right.
It's not good. Peter Dinklage is still awesome, but it's like he's not giving his best work. He's truly a supporting actor right now, Mm-hmm. And I think Jamie carries more emotion, in the stage of the story, but it's tough with the shorter season. There's a lot going. I don't know. It's like, and I don't think Thrones probably doesn't win any acting stuff because I remember Amelia Clark and Kit Harington, they even get nominated. They didn't, right?
No.
Yeah, so it's interesting seeing talking about Thrones that way, but who wins it? Like, is David Harbour really going to win? He might. This is a tough one to read.
Yeah, definitely a tough one to read. Another tough one to read here is supporting actress in a comedy series. Uh, I want it to be
8
Zazie
people.
Beetz. I know
What
eight
the
people
fuck?
and four. What four? No, three Saturday Night Live. The rest
Mhm.
all from different shows. None of these people I find particularly funny. I mean, Kate McKinnon, Saturday Night Live aside, like Zazie Beetz, she doesn't really bring me a lot of laughs in Atlanta. She's excellent, but I don't find myself
Right.
laughing at her very
There's a
often.
great Vulture piece from last week about like that we're in our state of post comedy, where shows like Glow and Atlanta and
Yep.
Barry, shows that are comedy, shows that are funny, but not always funny, not always laugh out loud.
Right.
And I think you kind of see that a bunch of throughout the nominations, right? That's probably also why Marvelous Miss Maisel can pick up so well, because it is more traditional in that sense in terms of the laughs.
But even Alex Borstein, I don't find like she there are funny moments, but I think more than anything, her being like the person kind of pushing Maisel, to really reach her potential is her role. She's not necessarily comedic relief. I mean, who would you pick in this category? Who do you want to see?
I would probably want to see Betty Gilpin win for Glow, honestly.
Mm.
Hers as he beats.
Yeah, I'd like
But
Sassy Beats to win.
I think Kate McKinnon probably wins again, or Alex Borstein, but I think Kate McKinnon probably wins again.
All right, so supporting actor in a comedy series. Uh, I've heard a lot about Baskets, man. I've never watched it, but I think didn't Louis Anderson win in the past for this?
Yeah, I think 2 years ago.
So, I mean, potentially, but I just hope Alec Baldwin doesn't win for playing Trump.
I don't think he will, honestly. I think, as I said before, Brian Tyree Henry would be my choice, straight up. He does so much for Atlanta. But I think it's probably going to be Henry Winkler for Barry. I think it's a very easy to see campaign for HBO to run, right? He's a likable person. People like him.
He's the fun, dude.
Exactly. Tony Shalhoub outside chance again. He's been in the mix.
I was gonna say Tony Shalhoub would be the guy I want to see win it. I mean, he was really good in Maisel. And also shout out Kenan Thompson getting that.
Getting it.
Yeah, getting that nomination. Why don't we jump to the just the shows, like the best actor or best drama, best comedy. And we can do limited series for this one too if you have a pick. Just looking here, man. I mean, there's 7 for the drama series, and it looks like 8 in the comedy series. So it's a fairly big field in each. I think we both would like to see the Americans. If we get noticed. With a down year for Thrones wasn't huge. I mean,
down year for Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Handmaid's Tale season 2 not as strong. Westworld season 2 laughably bad.
Still got nominated though.
Could The Crown win this? Could This Is Us win this? I think This Is Us probably has a better chance of The Crown. But again, like if we're getting what we want, Americans will hopefully finally get the recognition it deserves.
I hope so, man. Especially because it seemed to kind of stick the landing, so to speak. So I'd love to see it get noticed. Jump into comedy series. I mean, it's a 2-horse race for this Atlanta. Barry, and no, 3-horse race and Maisel. So
pretty tough to pick out of those 3. I can't be mad about any of them winning.
Yeah, it's got to be Atlanta though.
Yeah, it's just the best show of the 3.
Yeah, it's just a really incredible show, and we talked about a lot. Check it out, SoundCloud.com/NowstalgiaPod, and we're bringing it home. Limited series. Wow, this category is actually pretty thin.
Yep. It's I think it's a 2-horse race between Gianni Versace and Godless. I think Gianni Versace wins.
I think so.
After that, you have like Patrick Melrose, which I actually want to watch. I heard Cumberbatch is good in that.
Mm-hmm.
But then like The Alienist, Genius, Picasso, nobody talks about those shows. No one's excited about that. So it's like this is padding, unfortunately.
Genius is actually interesting because I heard a lot of buzz around the first season where they followed Albert Einstein, but then I heard Picasso fell off a lot. So this seems to be more of just like a shout out. The first season was bad; it was good, and let's give this a nomination as well.
And it's weird the way they treat Black Mirror, because Black Mirror, USS Callister is nominated for television movie. Mm-hmm. So they run Black Mirror as like individual anthology films. So it's just weird because like if Black Mirror ran as a limited series, it's fucking winning this shit.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like it's a stronger word for the win because spoilers, television movie is going to the tail. The Laura Dern movie that HBO bought and ran for the Emmys instead of the Oscars, right?
Yeah, we mentioned that in the first pod.
So, yeah, U.S. Costner going to win that, but that's another thing where some of these categories just can be thin because like Fahrenheit 451, we didn't like that. That's just not good. Not good.
Yeah, it's just not a good
really
movie.
not nominated. Good. Yeah. And then I can't speak to Flint, but it's on Lifetime. And then Paternal from HBO was fine. Okay. Yeah. Right. And it's just annoying that like some stuff just gets token noms. Whereas there's a comedy series, Insecure season 2, Tough Luck, not nominated. They pick Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Curb Your Enthusiasm over it, but that's the way it goes.
So follow along at Nowstalgia Pod. I'm sure we'll be tweeting as some of the winners come up, and anything notable we'll be talking about. Shout out to John Legend, by the way, first African American EGOT. So pretty awesome. He won for Jesus Christ Superstar, completing his 4 big award show wins.
Is his Oscar for Best Original Song?
Yeah, for Selma, right?
Isn't that kind of cheating to win a Best Original Song and then a Grammy? Isn't that 2 music wins?
Was it for Selma?
I don't know. I think it might have been.
I gotta look.
Wasn't that a song with him in Common?
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to give us some feedback, at NowstalgiaPod on Twitter, leave us a rating and review on iTunes, communicate with us and interact with us on YouTube. We like to comment and go back and forth a little bit, especially if you got some hot takes there. Mm-hmm. What do we talk about next week, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, you said we'll talk more in depth about like what the award wins mean once they actually happen. So, I didn't want to get too deep on hypotheticals now. We just want to let it happen first. So we'll talk more about that in depth next week. And then, you mentioned The Predator from Shane Black, a very popular filmmaker among, movie heads. He makes good stuff. So I'm excited to see this reboot. This cast is fucking stacked. And despite some negative press recently that Olivia Munn smartly brought up, I'm still excited to see the film. And we'll talk about that. American Vandal Season 2.
Yeah,
is coming out Friday. Season 1 has a Reading nomination up for the Emmys, so maybe they'll takes home some gold. But yeah, we'll talk about Season 2 on Netflix. I don't know if we'll get to it next week, but 8 episodes, 4 hours long. Not that big of a commitment, so we'll get to that soon. And then music from, I don't know if you have anything on your radar, but the one thing I have on my radar is Harvard Dropout by Lil Pump.
I think 21 Pilots should be dropping soon, maybe this coming week. October. Oh, they are?
More time.
I don't really have too much, so yeah. Keep the music light for a while. We'll talk about some TV. Give me some time to catch up. By the way, yeah, John Legend won for Glory in Selma. So yeah, he won for the Grammy and the Oscar for it. But hey, if a song's good, song's good. Anyways, we'll talk to you next week. R.I.P. Mac.
Peace.